Welcome, friend, to another Technical Tuesday, and today we're going to make fresh ricotta cheese from scratch. Let's do this thing. Welcome back, friend, and we're going to get started on this fresh ricotta cheese. I've got my Dutch oven right here warming. It's on about a medium heat. We don't want this too hot. We're going to cook this, bring it up to a boil, but we don't want to go fast with this because if you go hard in the paint on this, you will draw a foul, and that foul will be you'll scorch the milk on the bottom. And when you scorch the milk, you have to toss it and start over. We don't want to do that. So we're going to keep this on about a medium, somewhere in that neighborhood, and we'll cook our dairy products and bring that up to temp. So what are we playing with here today? Well, we've got 4 cups of whole milk. That is 950 grams, and yes, I did weigh it, and I'll tell you why in just a little bit. Then I have 2 cups of heavy cream, 460 grams. I've got 3 tablespoons of a white wine vinegar. You could use a white, really good white vinegar. Not white, sorry about that. Yeah, you can, anyway. White wine vinegar is what I'm trying to say. You can also use just plain white distilled vinegar with one caveat. As long as the label says it is natural. One of the curious things that a lot of people don't know is that you can make white vinegar from petroleum products. Who knew? But if it says natural, that means it's made from grain. And the ones that are made from grain are usually registered in grain strength. There you go. Anyway, so we got 3 tablespoons of the vinegar, and I have 14 grams of the salt. Now, let me go ahead and get the dairy products into the pot because they will not warm up while I'm just pontificating. And y'all know me by now, or you should, or if you're new, you don't know me. I can sometimes chase a squirrel or a bright, shiny object with the best of them. So, we're going to put in our milk and our cream. Then I'm going to start stirring that around. I made a little mess here. And I'm using a wooden spoon. I could have used any spoon, but I grabbed a wooden spoon. And then I'm going to go ahead and incorporate my salt in that while I'm stirring. So the heat, as it heats up, will actually help it dissolve. So why did I use 14 grams? Well, I poured out my milk. By the way, most of these recipes that you'll find online, you'll see them all kinds of different measurements. This is a 2 parts. All right, let's do it this way: 1 part cream to 2 parts milk. In this case, 2 cups to 4 cups. And I've seen less cream. I've seen no cream at all. I've seen cream cheese. So cream cheese. I mean, seriously, you make cream cheese very similar. You make ricotta. That's kind of cheating, I think, but that's just me. I don't know. Anyway, this the one I settled on because I like the richness of it is this 1 part to 2 parts. So it's got more cream than a lot of recipes will call for. And I've experimented with several of them. I've modified them. Most will come in volume measurements, cups, that sort of thing. But in culinary, particularly when you want accuracy, it's best to weigh. In baking, for example, you're going to weigh all your ingredients. And, oh, by the way, you're going to weigh those in the metric system, grams. Right off the bat, grams is like 28.33 grams per ounce, roughly. That means you're starting off at 28 times more accuracy. Also, the metric system is a base 10 system, and the imperial system, which is where we get cups and ounces and that sort of thing, is a base 16 system. Now, I graduated from the Saline County Public School System, and I can multiply and divide by 10 with all fingers and toes. But when you come to 16, I got to get a programmable calculator to figure that out. So it's easier to do the math in the head. It's more accurate. And this recipe on my website will be in grams because you'll have a better product, more accurate product. Can you get by with just measuring it out? Absolutely. But I want to teach you that there are some things that make life a little easier in the kitchen. All right, so why 14 grams? So the human body, the human brain, the human taste buds, everything about us detects 1% salt by weight of whatever it is you're eating as the optimum seasoning. Less, it's under seasoned. More, it can be salty. Two notable exceptions, potatoes and rice. I haven't even started playing with the potato to find out what the percentage is, but I'm working on the rice and have been off and on. And right now I'm at about a 1.25%. And that's if you use a commercial chicken broth that has sodium in it. So if you're using plain water or you're using your homemade chicken stock that has no seasoning, because we don't season stock, then you're going to have a higher percentage. And I'm going to work that out, and I will do a video on that once I get that all figured out. Now, why is that important? Well, you could make this without any salt whatsoever, or you can make it with just a little bit of salt. And then you can go about, once it's done, tasting and adding salt and all that. But if you know you're going to start out with what is the optimal amount, then if you have to adjust up or down, well, you can't adjust. You can put more in, you can't take it out. So if you have to adjust up, then it won't take but a New York minute to get that done. Okay? So that's all of that. Now, I got a little bit left. Let me get all of that goodiness. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this heat up, come to a boil. I'm going to stir it occasionally so that it does not scorch. And when I come back with you, I'm going to bring you up close and personal, and you'll get to watch the process as we go through the next step, because this is a very simple process, okay? So I will see you around the corner. All right, kids, we have dominoed. This thing is boiling, and I'm going to immediately turn that heat off. Now, with an induction top like this or a gas range, the heat goes off immediately, and all you have is residual heat left in the pan. This is cast iron, so there's quite a bit of heat left in it. However, on an electric range, whether it's ceramic top or otherwise, that heat is still in that cooktop, as well as the pan you're using. So you will need to move it probably to another place on the stove to drop that temperature down. Now, I am now going to add my 3 tablespoons of vinegar. I'm going to stir to incorporate, and we should be able to start seeing curds form. So we're going to make that, we're going to stop that right there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back here and grab my lid. I'm going to set it. I'm going to set a timer for 15 minutes. Now, typically, you would probably let this sit. No, actually not. That's the wrong step. I'm going to set a timer for 20, 25 minutes. Then we'll come back and check the curds, okay? We'll see you around the corner. All right, welcome back. We're still waiting on this. I hadn't even lifted the lid after I put it on. We probably got about another 10-ish minutes, 12 minutes maybe, to go before we take a look at that. Let me tell you about the rest of my setup. Of course, I had the Dutch oven that I cooked it in. I like that because it holds the heat. But I've got a big pot right here, a big stock pot that has a large fine mesh strainer on it. Guys, you probably, unless you go to a restaurant supply, you probably won't find a fine mesh strainer this big. That's okay. Get the largest one you have. Make sure it is a fine mesh. Now, what is this white stuff on here? This is cheesecloth. Guess what cheesecloth was invented to do? Help you make cheese. Although, if you ask somebody in one of the stores, they couldn't tell you. I know from personal experience when I asked, hey, where do you keep your cheesecloth? Scooby-Doo. The what? So, what I've done is, by the way, in Kroger and maybe other grocery stores that are primarily a grocery store, there's an aisle where they've got like maybe this wide of a section. They've got little gadgets and hangy things and tongs and those kind of stuff. They usually, Kroger will keep their cheesecloth in packages there, small packages. Walmart, don't look for it in the kitchen or household aisle. Don't do it. It's in their craft section. Buy the largest roll you can because it's just cheaper that way. And if you're going to use it a lot, if you really enjoy making cheese, then you might want to consider ordering it online so you can get a larger quantity. All right, so what have I done? I've got this set up. I've got a ladle that I'm going to start this in before I tilt it and pour. And then what I've done also is I've taken the cheesecloth and I've thoroughly wet it. This is 4 long pieces that I've crisscrossed, you know, it made an X and then made an X, and it helps cover the whole fine mesh strainer. And I've wet it thoroughly. Then I did a ring of it, wrung it dry, as we say in the country. And so now it's damp. Why that's important is if you try to pour your liquid on here when it's dry, it's going to pop up and bubble up, and stuff will get underneath the layers, and you'll not succeed with the rest in. And then we're going to have to sit and let it drain for anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, and we'll talk about that when we get to that stage. So we'll see you around the corner. All right, welcome back, kids. So now we're going to ladle our curds and whey through the fine mesh strainer. So let's just take a look right here. I'll take my handy dandy wooden spoon. Oh, can you see that? How thick that is? Now this is not like a mozzarella curd or anything like that. We haven't used a rennet. This is actually just using the acid from the vinegar. And so I am now going to ladle this into my fine mesh strainer with cheesecloth. And when I'm finished, I'm going to set a timer for about 15 minutes actually, because I want to check it. I want a creamy ricotta in this case, and not one that's firm. Now, if I was going to make lasagna with this ricotta cheese, what I would do is I would simply let it drain for 25 or 30 minutes so it's a little bit drier, because with lasagna, you don't want a lot of moisture inside your lasagna when you're cooking it. All right, so now I'm going to see. There's not any scorching. That stain was there from something I did the other day, and so we didn't scorch it. And I'm going to take. Yep, it's dripping through. The whey is dripping through. And we're going to leave that for 15 minutes at least, maybe longer. We'll see how far along we've come, and then we'll go from there. So I'll bring you back when it's time. See you then. Welcome back, friend, and now it's time to check on the ricotta. So here's what's happened. Actually, this was draining pretty slowly when I poured it in yesterday, and I had to run some errands, so I stuck it in the refrigerator and then forgot about it. So it's actually the morning after, but this is turned out, so look at that, rich and creamy. I cannot wait to actually get a taste test of this. So I'm going to go ahead and put this, plate this up. But as you can see, this is an incredibly simple, easy thing to do. Right? All we did was 1 part cream, 2 parts whole milk. 1% of the weight of that we did in salt. If I can get that off the spoon. And then vinegar, 3 tablespoons of vinegar. We used a good white wine. Actually, it was a champagne vinegar. It's my first time to ever use a champagne vinegar on this. I don't know why I felt the need to do that, but it's turned out beautifully. Set that aside, and I'm going to garnish it with a sprig of fennel frond, why fennel? Because that's what I had. I didn't have parsley. So anyway, just to give it a little color, there is our finished ricotta. I'm going to give it a taste in a minute, take a couple pictures, and I'll see you around the corner. Welcome back, friend, and it's my favorite time of the day, and that is tasting time. And unlike a lot of Technical Tuesdays, I'm actually going to taste this because this looks pretty darn yummy. But anyway, this is nice and creamy, and I'm just going to give it a quick taste test. So creamy. Oh, yeah. That is fantabulous. I'm telling you. Perfectly seasoned. That 1% rule, it actually revolutionized my my cooking because I no longer had to guess about seasoning. That's delicious. So, friend, go out and make this today. The next time you need ricotta cheese for something, don't go buy it. It's so simple to make, so easy to do. You know, it only has 4 ingredients. You're putting them all in. No preservatives, none of the other nonsense that can be in a commercial product. This, my friend, is worth doing. So until next time, thank you for joining me on this Technical Tuesday. And remember this, a day in the kitchen beats a day of working any day. Welcome back, friends. And now it's time to check on our ricotta. And I forgot a spoon. I don't need to get a spoon.